Yo, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing something super different. I've actually never done this on my YouTube channel before. We're going to be looking actually into a 2000 rated, a 2K rated player. He's an arcane mage. His name is Spart. He's a good friend of mine. He's a subscriber of my Twitch channel. Really nice dude, and he was very kind enough to offer me some actual game footage of him doing a couple wins and a couple losses, and I'm going to go over a specific loss today, and we're just going to go ahead and jump into this video. I play arcane mage myself, so I'm pretty proficient with how to do that. Right off the bat, I did notice that his bindings, I'm not really going to go too far into this. I go into this in my arcane mage guide on my website, but I definitely think his bindings, for 1 and 2, it could be a little bit more this could be either Blink, Arcane Blast, or Arcane Missiles, and then, have your bindings a little bit more. I guess it's personal, whatever, who cares, it doesn't matter. We're going to jump into this arena game. He's going to be fighting against an Affliction Warlock, Shadow Priest, Restoration Shaman, so otherwise known as Shadow Play, and then he's going to be playing as a Restoration Shaman, Arcane Mage, and Warrior. So they're going to be doing a more setup-based burst damage, have that Sky Fury down whenever you're using Arcane Power, and overall going to be looking to burst in a Fear, Polymorph, Interrupt type situation, right? So I think that he should be going Shadow Priest. I think Restoration Shaman does work pretty well as well. And I think that overall, the enemy team's goal here is going to be doing surviving against that huge burst damage, and then also doing a huge amount of AoE pressure through their multi-dotting and all that stuff, right? So one thing I noticed right off the bat here is the fact that Spart's Warrior jumps in, heroic leaps in, which is fine if he's trying to stop the gateway from being put down, but it looks like he jumps in and he instantly storm bolts and then intimidating shouts the shaman before Spart's in any possible way to make sure that happens. So this could be just miscommunication in general, because there's two different situations here that could have happened. Spart could have just ran in on his mount and been offensive with his warrior, or he could, his warrior could have waited for Spart to get in position with his invisibility for him to get a mask invisibility into arcane, or Mark of a Lunith, or even a polymorph, right? So it looks like there was just a little bit of miscommunication there, and the reason why I bring that up and why that's so bad is because that intimidating shout is almost over now on the shaman, and they're all 3 targets are at 100% health. So there's been actually no burst damage happening at all in that CC window, and your whole as WMS, your team goal is to burst someone down during that CC window, right? During that Storm Bolt, during that Fear, and we get a nice sheep off into the Shadow Priest, and it looks like we're killing the Affliction Warlock. The target choice in general should be more so towards the Shadow Priest, and I mean anyone can die here, I guess, so it's not a huge deal, and it's so hard to learn from just target choice. That's just experience and what works for you. But I definitely think that they should have gone Shadow Priest, and I think that this should be more of an overall team synergy going in together at the same time and doing burst damage together and CCing together. That's such an important thing for good teams. Good teams do that, bad teams don't, and it really matters whenever teams go in together for them to be successful together and do damage together and all that to try to land the kill, right? So something just happened right here. It looks like Spart did try to cast that Mark of a Lunith and got interrupted on it. When you're fighting against Lock Shaman, especially as Mage, I know that this is such a specific tip, but it's really hard to cast. I find myself doing so many Arcane Explosions, Arcane Orb, Arcane Barrage, Missiles every now and then, and Palm Arcane Blast, more than trying to cast Mark of a Lunith, more than trying to cast Polymorph, and really try to overwhelm them with damage. Since that Lock Shaman is so hard to get cast off, since they have so many different interrupts and groundings and all those things. He's already been interrupted twice in the last 10 seconds, and those interrupts are really long. That's not easy. And he's also got Curse of Tongues up, so it's really hard for him to get that cast off anyways, right? And then he gets sheared again. So that's 3 interrupts in the last 12 to 15 seconds. It kind of proves my point that it's so hard to cast against these teams. I think it's actually bad to cast. I think it's better to just go for those instant casts. So right now you can see Spart's doing some pretty crazy Arcane Mage things. He's trying to do a lot of damage. He gets interrupt for a 4th time, and this is really the bane of mages right now, is being interrupted so many times by Lock Shaman, interrupted for a 5th time. And I think overall Spart could be way more effective here by just using his instant cast, using that Arcane Orb, using that Arcane Explosion with his Arcane Charges at 4, and getting those Barrage resets and doing really well overall with those kinds of things. It looks like the warrior actually ends up just dying here, and that really does lead to you know, their team, the enemy team, didn't really have to peel. They didn't have to focus on surviving. It was more so just them doing an immense amount of damage, and since their classes do so much damage, it does result in the warrior actually getting super low, forcing out cooldowns, and it looks like he will be, you know, like the whole team is in a really bad spot right now because the Shadow Priest is getting his execute damage, his Twist of Fate damage, as you can see right here, and Sky Fury's down. Like their enemy team is just like destroying them in terms of damage right now. So overall, you know, things to learn from this match really kind of go into team synergy, overall positioning, and knowing when to use your burst damage, and then overall like being able to do that damage when you need to, so like not being interrupted, not being spell locked, and all those sorts of things. And there's also a point like when they Spirit Link, it's also possible for them to like all run away as a team, you know, heal yourself up, take a little bit of a breather, restore your health back, and kind of get on your feet again as a team, right? So overall, I think that they're on the right track, but I think that there's definitely a lot to learn here. There's definitely a lot to improve on, and I think that overall, like, Spart is a very talented player, and if there was just some small tweaks and some like overall team synergy tweaks, I think this would be a much better situation for Spart and his teammates. So that does pretty much sum it up for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this new style of video. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and a comment down below telling me that you want to see more of these videos, because I've got a couple more matches from Spart that I can review. And you guys should definitely go check out the Arcane Mage guide if you're looking to pick up the class, and maybe like look into the in-depth guide that I do have to offer on my website, www.cartoons.tv. The link is in the description. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all tomorrow.